a city ablaze, history burning. Yet, from these very ashes, something new and unyielding was born. On an Easter Monday, amidst a world at war, a quiet declaration shattered centuries of silence. They were dreamers, poets, teachers. For their audacious act, they paid the ultimate price, one by one. Britain believed it had won, quelled a small uprising, but some victories are merely the seeds of future defiance. Can an empire, vast and powerful, truly suppress the spirit of a people longing for their own destiny? We journey back to 1916, to a forgotten week that changed Ireland's path irrevocably, forever echoing. This is the story of a rebellion Britain could not suppress, a fire that refused to be extinguished, a handful of dreamers against the mightiest empire the world had ever known. Such audacity, wouldn't you agree? Their fight was seemingly crushed in days, yet it sparked a century-long struggle for the soul of a nation. A profound paradox, isn't it? A military defeat becoming the very crucible of a nation's birth. These were not seasoned armies, but ordinary people, yearning for a voice, dreaming of self-rule. Their challenge was audacious, a whisper of defiance against a roar of imperial power and long-held injustice. For centuries, Ireland had known the Crown's rule. But beneath the surface, a different story brewed. This wasn't just a political uprising, it was a deeply human cry for dignity, for belonging, for home. The empire boasted of crushing dissent. But true freedom, once tasted in the heart, is unyielding, eternal. A nation's spirit, unlike an army, cannot be defeated by cannons, nor imprisoned behind walls. Britain's victory in 1916 was a fleeting moment, a miscalculation of the enduring power of dreams. It was a victory that paradoxically ignited the very fire it sought to extinguish, a profound lesson. The Easter Rising of 1916, a pivotal week when the impossible was attempted and everything changed. We'll delve deep into its epic struggle, its hidden complexities, and its lasting historical significance. It's a story of courage, sacrifice, and the unyielding human spirit that refused to ever surrender. Join me as we unearth the forgotten whispers, feel the echoes of defiance, and understand this profound legacy. Ireland, a land of profound beauty, held within its heart a long, complex yearning for self-rule. For centuries, this Emerald Isle existed under the shadow of a crown far across the sea. Everyday life unfolded, yet the presence of British rule was an undeniable, constant thread woven into existence. Two worlds often coexisted, side by side, yet divided by more than just stone walls and green fields. Beneath the surface of daily life, a profound sense of yearning, a deep question, persisted quietly. Home rule. It was a beacon, a promise whispered, then shouted, across the island, demanding autonomy. Irish voices rose in Westminster's grand halls, tirelessly pleading for the simple right to govern themselves. From crowded pubs to quiet kitchens, conversations always returned to this one enduring, fervent aspiration. The path of constitutional politics proved arduous, a labyrinth of debates, delays, and frustrating political maneuvering. Home rule remained a dream, perpetually just beyond reach, a flickering light against the encroaching dark. The collective memory of the Great Famine, a wound that never truly healed, haunted the Irish spirit. Memories of land evictions, the cruel displacement from ancestral homes, fueled a deep, simmering resentment. Religious differences, too, often sharpened by politics, created deep, sometimes painful, rifts across the land. Economic disparities starkly illustrated wealth flowing outwards, leaving many Irish communities struggling for basic needs. A long history of suppressed rebellions, each attempt met with overwhelming force, solidified a legacy of defiance. The plantation history, ancient wounds from colonial land confiscations, etched itself onto the very landscape. These grievances, woven into family stories, passed from generation to generation, became an enduring part of identity. Amidst the political turmoil, a beautiful blossoming of cultural nationalism began to sweep Ireland. The old tunes, the ancient dances, and powerful storytelling rekindled a deep connection to Irish heritage. Poets and playwrights found their voice, painting vivid pictures of Ireland's soul, rich in myth and spirit. Even in sport, the Gaelic Athletic Association fostered a distinct Irish identity, celebrating its unique traditions. Children learned their history, their language, understanding the precious inheritance of being truly Irish. It was a quiet revolution of the heart, a reclaiming of spirit, affirming what it meant to be Irish. Hope surged as the Home Rule Bill, a promise so long awaited, finally progressed through Parliament. But passing was one thing. Implementation, a bitter deferment, quickly became a heart-wrenching reality. Then, the thunderous drums of World War I drowned out Irish aspirations, pushing them to the sidelines. The taste of betrayal, trust eroded as self-governance, once within grasp, vanished, deferred indefinitely. Weariness gave way to a steely resolve, a quiet determination born of deferred hopes and broken promises. Whispers of other ways, more direct actions, began to circulate through the communities, growing louder. The stage was set, frustrations boiling over, for a profound and unexpected moment that would shake the island. Beneath the gentle rain and quiet fields, a different kind of storm was slowly gathering force. Dublin, a city of quiet routines, held secrets within its ancient cobblestone streets. Waiting, for generations, whispers of freedom had echoed through Irish homes, a yearning never truly silenced. Many sought change through measured words and constitutional paths, hoping for slow, steady progress. But beneath the surface, a more radical current flowed, impatient for true, complete liberation. Revolutionary republicanism, a fervent flame, sought an Ireland free from any foreign crown. Young hearts, burning with a fierce patriotism, answered history's urgent call for a new dawn. The idea of a republic, a dream once distant, now felt tangible, demanding sacrifice, demanding action. Secret societies, bound by oaths and silent promises, wove their intricate webs of rebellion. Time felt different then. Each ticking moment, a heartbeat towards an uncertain, yet hopeful future. On the surface, Dublin hummed with everyday life, a gentle rhythm disguising its restless soul. Parks filled with laughter, cafes with chatter, life appeared calm, almost blissfully unaware. Yet, behind thoughtful eyes and polite smiles, quiet storms of ambition brewed, waiting. Beneath the veneer of peace, old grievances stirred. A deep river of discontent flowed silently. A quiet tension, a knowing glance, an unspoken agreement. Change was palpable, drawing nearer. Far across the sea, a different, far grimmer drama consumed the world. The Great War. Europe bled, its battlefields devouring lives, attention, and an empire's every resource. Britain, embroiled in its own brutal struggle, looked eastward, its gaze fixed on the Western Front. Men, money, and every ounce of strength poured into the vast, insatiable maw of conflict. For those dreaming of freedom, this global catastrophe presented a desperate, fleeting chance. A window of opportunity, forged in the crucible of war, opened just wide enough. To strike now, while the lion was wounded, was a gamble of immense, terrifying proportions. It demanded courage, a deep, unwavering conviction in a nation's right to self-determination. The weight of such a decision, the lives at stake, pressed heavily on every revolutionary heart. In hidden corners, plans were laid, details meticulously worked, hopes woven into every thread. For families, an unspoken dread mingled with proud hope, a heavy cloak of uncertainty. The chasm between moderate and radical deepened, a choice looming large for all. The moment for polite requests had passed. A new, bolder chapter was about to begin. Dublin slumbered on, unaware of the storm brewing just beneath its calm, ancient skin. A nation's unrest, long simmering, was about to break free, echoing through history forever. Dublin hummed with a quiet yearning. A longing stirred, a feeling deep beneath life's familiar surface now. The world outside was ablaze, a brutal war consuming Europe's youth and spirit, day after day. In those shadowed rooms, a profound question whispered, was this indeed Ireland's moment to rise? The Irish Republican Brotherhood, a quiet, dedicated few, began weaving their impossible dream. Their military council met in hushed tones, each man carrying the weight of generations of hope. Patrick Pearse felt it in his bones. This war, this global turmoil, was a sacred opportunity. James Connolly, too, saw the urgency. A flicker of chance amidst the world's desperate, tragic madness. Britain was distracted, its empire stretched thin, its attention fixed on distant, bloody battlefields. The time for talk was fading. The time for something drastic, something undeniable, was upon them. They looked beyond Ireland's shores to Germany, hoping for an ally in their desperate, audacious gamble. A ship laden with arms could change everything. It was a beacon of hope, a fragile, desperate prayer. The weight of a nation's destiny, a whisper of freedom, rested on their brave, trembling shoulders now. Preparations, slow and careful, unfolded in hidden corners, far from the watchful, indifferent eyes. Meanwhile, far at sea, a silent grey ship called the Odd began its perilous, secret voyage. Her journey, fraught with danger, was a testament to the desperate hope carried within those rebels' hearts. Yet, even then, the seeds of confusion began to sprout, tiny cracks in their carefully laid plans. Misunderstandings, like whispers in the dark, stretched across the sea, twisting their fateful messages. Every leader, every hopeful soul, felt the creeping dread of things falling apart, just as they began. The Ord pressed on, a ghost ship carrying a dream, inching closer to the Irish shore. But the watchful eyes of the British Navy were everywhere, a net slowly tightening, unseen by many. Land was sighted. The long, anxious wait was almost over, or so they desperately hoped. Then, silence. No reception committee, no guiding light, just the cold, indifferent darkness. The Ord, exposed and alone, had been spotted. The fateful trap was now sprung. The net tightened swiftly. The dream of German arms, so close, began to crumble into dust. The Ord, scuttling, a desperate final act, swallowed thousands of precious rifles, and with them, hope. News of the lost arms, a heavy blow, spread like a cold, paralyzing wave among the awaiting rebels. Eowyn MacNeill, leader of the volunteers, received news that tore his very soul in two. His countermanding order, born of desperation and belief in futility, flew across the land. Confusion reigned. Rebels, ready to fight, now stood bewildered, their purpose suddenly snatched away. Many simply went home, their fire dampened, believing the uprising was now utterly, hopelessly undone. Yet, for some, the die was cast. The decision had been made. There was no turning back. Despite chaos, a core group remained resolute, choosing defiance over despair, come what may. The hour of reckoning approached, shrouded in confusion, but fueled by an unyielding, burning spirit. On Easter Monday, 1916, Dublin still slept, unaware of the profound shift about to unfold. A quiet morning's deceptive peace, the city stirred gently, as if dreaming, oblivious to the momentous decisions made in shadowed rooms. Life was about to change. That gentle tolling bell whispered of tradition, but a new, defiant sound was preparing to cut through the morning air. They walked from the shadows, ordinary men and women, yet carrying an extraordinary weight. Their steps, a silent promise. No grand pronouncements, just a shared glance of understanding, a quiet nod. The time for waiting was finally over. Each step was heavy with history, each breath a silent prayer. They were walking into an uncertain, momentous future. The disparate threads began to weave, converging towards a singular, audacious purpose. Dublin was slowly waking up. What did that child think, seeing those determined faces pass? A memory etched before anyone understood its meaning. The sun climbed, illuminating their path, yet a shadow of profound uncertainty still hung heavy. This was a day of courage. The GPO stood as a monument to British power, solid and unwavering. It would not remain untouched this day. They moved like a single, determined entity, towards the heart of the city, towards their ultimate, symbolic objective. The doors flung open, a sudden, violent entry. The peace shattered, replaced by an urgent, revolutionary clamor. A moment of stunned disbelief as ordinary lives collided with extraordinary defiance. The world tilted on its axis. Down came the old flag, a silent farewell. Up rose the new, a vibrant symbol of hope and audacious rebellion. Within those grand walls, a document of immense weight was being prepared. Its words, a declaration of nationhood. Pearse held the proclamation, its paper rustling with untold futures. A profound moment, quiet before the storm. The GPO, once a symbol of another's power, was now being remade. A fortress of dreams, defended with courage. He stepped into the bright, uncertain light, holding the promise of a nation. All eyes turned to him. The crowd assembled, a mix of curiosity and apprehension. They sensed something monumental was about to happen. His voice, at first a murmur, then gained strength, echoing across the street. The moment of truth arrived. He read of liberty, of sovereignty, of a nation reborn from suffering. Words became powerful, living things. The faces in the crowd reflected a tapestry of emotion, hope, fear, a profound, dawning understanding. This was their story. From those steps, a fragile yet potent dream was articulated, a direct, undeniable challenge hurled at empire. For some, it was a moment of profound revelation, a long-held yearning finally spoken aloud, a tearful affirmation. Even the unwitting observer felt the tremor of defiance, a challenge whispered into the heart of British rule. Meanwhile, across the city, other vital points were being seized, silent acts of coordinated, audacious defiance. De Valera's command transformed a mill into a bastion, a place of determined, strategic resistance. Every brick now a defense. Amidst the scent of flour, they built their defenses, a testament to raw courage. Their spirit was unyielding. The Four Courts, seat of law, was now under rebel control, a symbolic reclaiming of justice and sovereignty. Young and old stood together, guarding the future they were creating. Their resolve, a silent, powerful promise. Even a biscuit factory became a battleground, a testament to their widespread, audacious vision. No corner was left untouched. Across Dublin, the green flag of a new republic fluttered, a silent, potent challenge to an empire. Easter Monday. Dublin was forever changed. A quiet morning exploded into a courageous, unforgettable declaration of freedom. The rebellion had begun. News trickled in, fragmented, almost unbelievable. London's high command, truly, could not fathom such audacity. Whispers of rebellion, once dismissed, now echoed with a chilling, undeniable truth. Dublin stirred. What began as a local disturbance quickly revealed itself, a nation's heart, beating with defiant fervor. Across the Irish Sea, the message flew with desperate speed. An empire, stirring from its slumber. The shock soon yielded to grim resolve. Orders were given. The full might of the empire would respond. From quiet barracks, men prepared, their boots soon to echo on foreign cobblestones, answering duty's stark call. Ships waited, hungry for their cargo. Across the water, destiny beckoned, a tragic, bloody reunion. Through the turbulent Irish Sea they sailed, a silent armada, carrying swift retribution to rebel shores. On Irish soil, their boots landed heavy, a stark intrusion. The air, once still, now bristled with menace. With grim purpose, they advanced, a steel tide flowing towards the defiant heart of a city ablaze. The first shots rang out, echoing through cobbled lanes. A fierce, sudden baptism of fire. From behind barricades, a defiant answer. Small pockets of resistance, burning with fierce, unyielding spirit. Streets became battlegrounds, familiar corners transformed. Life, once calm, now surrendered to the chaos. Amidst the clashes, innocence sought refuge. The city wept, its gentle spirit shattered by this sudden war. Inch by painful inch, the empire advanced, its grim logic slowly reclaiming the city's rebellious soul. The city's pulse, once vibrant, began to slow. A steel cordon was drawing ever tighter. Roads once open now stood guarded, sealed off. Dublin's heart, slowly but surely, suffocated. Food and water, a precious few, dwindled. The siege's cold grip tightened, testing desperate resolve. Fresh legions arrived, an unstoppable tide. The rebels' brave stand seemed increasingly futile. Trapped, surrounded, the brave few found their world shrinking. Hope, a fragile flame, flickered. Messages failed to reach, words lost in the smoke. Isolation, a bitter reality, settled in. One by one, their strongholds became lonely islands. The unified dream, fragmenting under pressure, weariness crept in, a heavy blanket. Yet, a spark of defiance still burned within their souls. The Empire's machinery, cold and relentless, ground forward. Every rebel act met with overwhelming force. Retreats became necessary, regrouping a desperate hope. The city, a labyrinth of peril. The tranquil Liffey, Dublin's silent witness, was about to become a pathway for swift, brutal power. Upriver, a new threat emerged, an iron beast. The Helga arrived, its purpose chillingly clear. Panic spread like wildfire along the banks. A new kind of war, unleashed from the river itself. Its guns, stark and unforgiving, found their targets. The river's embrace turned to deadly threat. With a thunderous roar, the first shell flew. The city's fate, now sealed by imperial might. Iconic landmarks, once proud, now shattered. History, scarred deeply by merciless shelling. Dublin burned, a tragic, fiery beacon. The Empire's terrible wrath consumed its defiant heart. The rebellion, so brave, now faced utter annihilation. The full, cold might of Empire descended. The quiet before the storm holds a breath, a fragile peace soon to shatter in Dublin's historic streets. The counterattack began, a slow, inexorable tide washing over the hopes ignited just days before. Heavy guns now turned their gaze upon a city unprepared, a stark symbol of overwhelming might. Panic rippled through the populace as the first terrible impacts tore through the very fabric of their city. Up the Liffey sailed the Helga, a harbinger of destruction, its cold steel reflecting an unforgiving sky. From the river, a new terror emerged. The Helga's guns roared, echoing the city's growing despair. Each explosion was a heart-wrenching tear, a fragment of Dublin's soul ripped away in the relentless barrage. Stone by stone, history itself began to fracture, falling apart under the unfeeling weight of heavy artillery. Smoke and ash now painted the heavens, a somber canvas reflecting the tragedy unfolding beneath its gaze. Sackville Street, once proud, now a tragic inferno, its grand buildings consumed by merciless fire. The fire spread like a vengeful spirit, consuming all in its path, leaving only sorrow and desolation. Amidst the flames, innocents fled, their quiet lives suddenly torn asunder, seeking refuge from the inferno. The GPO, a beacon of defiance, now stood wounded, bearing the scars of a nation's desperate struggle. Within its walls, the dreamers held fast, their courage a fragile flame against the overwhelming darkness. The air thrummed with the clash of wills, a desperate symphony of gunfire, courage, and encroaching despair. Slowly, relentlessly, the encirclement tightened, each British step a heavier burden on the rebels' dwindling hopes. Explosions ripped through the GPO, each blast a cruel reminder of their precarious, ever-shrinking sanctuary. Smoke choked the air, a cruel, suffocating blanket that mirrored the despair beginning to settle within. Amidst the chaos, moments of fragile humanity bloomed, as comrades tended wounds, sharing silent, aching burdens. The grim realization dawned, cold and inescapable. Their symbolic heart, the GPO, was truly doomed. A fateful discussion unfolded, voices low, charting a course through fire, for a last, desperate chance. With heavy hearts, they prepared to abandon their sanctuary, clutching only the tattered remnants of their dream. They burrowed through the crumbling walls, a desperate crawl through dust and flame towards an uncertain dawn. From the inferno, they emerged, ghosts of their former selves, seeking but a fleeting moment of respite. Through the burning city, they ran, each step a gamble against the bullets and the hungry, raging fire. Moore Street, a forgotten haven, offered a brief, fragile shelter from the tempest raging just beyond. Here, they would make their final, defiant stand, a tiny flicker of resistance against the encroaching darkness. Their numbers dwindled, but their resolve remained, a quiet testament to the enduring power of a dream. Pearse gazed upon the devastation, the city's wounds mirroring the anguish in his own weary heart. The burden of leadership, heavy as stone, pressed upon him, demanding a choice no one should ever face. To save further suffering, to spare more innocent lives, he made the most agonizing decision of all. With a heavy heart, he penned the words of surrender, a bitter end to a dream bought with so much. Slowly, reluctantly, the white flag ascended, a silent, sorrowful testament to courage, sacrifice, and a dream deferred. The fight was over, the last shots echoing in the rubble. A silence fell, heavy with defeat and untold futures. Through the broken streets, they walked, heads bowed, uniforms tattered, a profound weariness etched on every face. Their eyes held a distant, almost shell-shocked gaze, reflecting the brutal reality of their short, fierce defiance. A somber procession, a testament to courage and conviction, now paraded before a city still reeling from the chaos. The Dubliners watched, some confused, some angry, their own hardships making empathy a rare, fleeting luxury. Jeers and shouts pierced the air, a cruel chorus from a populace weary of war's shadow and devastation. Public humiliation, a bitter aftertaste to their rebellion, was met with a stoic silence, yet it stung. Even the leaders, once defiant voices, now faced the glare of public scorn, their dream momentarily shattered. But the arrests weren't confined to Dublin. A vast net began to sweep across the whole island. Families were torn apart, men pulled from their homes, suspicion hanging heavy in the air, a fearful uncertainty. Thousands were rounded up, taken from fields and towns, their involvement often whispered and unclear. Prisons swelled, holding a generation of men, their fate yet unwritten, but dread certainly palpable. In hushed rooms, far from public gaze, swift and secret court-martials began, their outcomes predetermined. Justice was swift, often brutal, a stark message intended to crush the spirit of rebellion utterly. Kilmainham Gaol became the stage for these chilling proceedings, a silent witness to history's unfolding tragedy. Then came the announcements, a slow, agonizing drip feed of names, each one a hammer blow. Pearse, Clark, MacDonough, Plunkett, the leaders of the rising, taken in the dawn. Each morning, the chilling ritual repeated itself, a grim message sent across the silent city. Connolly, gravely wounded, was even carried by stretcher to face the firing squad. Unthinkable cruelty. Over days and weeks, the lifeblood of the rebellion was systematically extinguished, one by painful one. News traveled like wildfire, and with each name, initial public indifference began to crumble, giving way. The systematic nature of these executions, delivered with such cold regularity, shocked the very soul of Ireland. Sympathy grew, hardening into outrage. The martyrs of Easter, 1916, ignited a fire that would never fade. The dust settled, but a different storm brewed. Words of anger, condemnation, filled the air. A nation's initial judgment, life, upended. Daily routines shattered by a week of chaos, frustration etched deep within common hearts. Many saw not heroes, but troublemakers, disrupting peace. Their sacrifices, then, seemed misplaced, unwelcome. The British hand, swift and unyielding. Mass arrests began, a chilling silence descending over the city. Sympathy, for many, was a distant echo. The immediate aftermath felt only of loss and resentment. Then, the whispers began. News of executions, quietly at first, like shadows lengthening in the twilight. Pearse, MacDonough, Clark. Their names, once reviled, now printed in sorrow. Shock rippled through. Each dawn brought another name, another life extinguished. The scale of the reprisal became chillingly clear. The casual condemnations faded, replaced by a growing dread. Something profound shifted deep within their souls. Connolly, defiant even in his brokenness, met his fate. Such an act stirred a deep, uncomfortable question. From shock, a simmering outrage began to rise. A quiet defiance lit, candle by candle, in the dark. Mourning, once absent, now sought solace in shadows. A collective grief, quietly taking root in the soil. No longer rebels, but martyrs. Their sacrifice, once scorned, now whispered with reverence and understanding. Conversations changed, tones softened. The initial fury melted into a solemn, shared sense of injustice. Even across oceans, the news resonated. Irish hearts, separated by sea, beat with a collective sorrow. These men, flawed as any, were transformed. Their images, etched into the nation's unfolding story, immortalized. Their names, spoken now with a different weight, became anchors in a shifting sea, a legacy forged. Britain's harsh hand had sought to crush, but instead, it unwittingly sowed seeds of resolute independence. What seemed a military failure, a tragic, costly misstep, was transforming into a powerful political force. A new generation, witnessing this injustice, found their voice. The quiet embers of defiance blazed, no longer home rule, but something deeper, grander. The yearning for absolute, unburdened freedom grew. The path to independence, now clearer, albeit steep, a quiet resolve hardened, ready for the struggle. The ashes of 1916, though sorrowful, nurtured the soil. A nation's future, forged in those flames. The dust settled, revealing ruin and a seemingly crushed dream. Yet, history often hides its true seeds. For what felt like a defeat in 1916 blossomed into something far greater in time. A nation's heart. Militarily, it was undeniably crushed. A brief, desperate stand against empire's might. But a spirit awakened. Politically, however, the rising was a profound success. It stirred the very soul of a people. That powerful yearning, once whispered, grew into a roar. It forged the Irish Free State, and from those turbulent beginnings, a sovereign nation rose. The Republic of Ireland itself, a testament. The Easter Rising wasn't just an event, it was the spark. It truly ignited Ireland's flame. It became more than history. It became a foundational myth, a story etched deep within the land, a symbol of defiance against overwhelming odds, a testament to freedom's unyielding, enduring call, and of profound sacrifice, lives laid down for a future they might never see, a sacred trust, a relentless, unyielding pursuit of self-determination, a truth deeply held in the national spirit. This profound journey through history truly invites your own thoughtful engagement. Join our conversation. If this story resonated, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing our channel. Your support matters. Together, we build a community, exploring history's lessons, ensuring these vital stories are never forgotten.